Hey, it's Bean! Welcome to my channel. As you may or may not know, I'm a huge Owl House fan, and recently Season 3 just came out. So today, I'm going to be painting and drawing thanks to them scenes, and giving my thoughts on the episode. And spoilers for Owl House Season 3, obviously. Let's talk about what I'd argue is the most important thing about the entire episode, and that's Hunter's hair, obviously. And, okay, I won't lie, I didn't like Hunter's haircut at all. When I saw the first promo poster for Season 3 and saw that they got rid of his little hair strand, I was devastated. That's a little bit of an overstatement, but I just love drawing his weird little hair noodle. What can I say? And yeah, I know it was meant to represent him becoming his own person or whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that it looked bad. But they pulled through at the end. They for real used the possession as an excuse to give Hunter a mullet, and honestly, I'm just here for it. And speaking of possessions, let's talk about Hunter's. I'm not someone who usually likes possession arcs or possession used for characters, mainly because I feel like it takes away from a lot of character development or character accountability. Because if a character does get possessed, it's not their fault, and so anything bad they do just gets excused. It halts any real character development they might have had because it's not really that character doing anything. And for Hunter's possession, I thought it was just a little cliche in the way that you expected it to happen, and it wasn't really a shock at all. Like, throughout the entire episode, I just kept rolling my eyes whenever they insinuate, "Ooh, Bellows is back, scary." Like, come on, what is this, a kid's show? Pfft, no. But then it's like, you're telling me Bellows spent all this time working to get back to the human realm, literally gaslit an entire society, only to come back a couple months later? Like, dude, come on, what are you doing here? And don't get me wrong, I love Bellows as a villain, but after his whole plan was revealed, he just wasn't nearly as intimidating or scary as he was before. And that's kind of a shame, because I thought Bellows was a fantastic villain, but in this episode, he just felt so overdone. And yeah, before I go any further, let me mention the obvious, Flapjack's death. Before the episode aired, everyone was saying, "Oh, someone's gonna die," and I was like, I don't believe that. Someone died, alright, Flapjack. And honestly, I didn't think the writers had it in them. I didn't think they would actually kill off a character, but they did. And I saw the leaks for the episode before it aired, and the images looked like Hunter was actually gonna die. So that actually made me pretty nervous before watching it. So when Flapjack died, I was a little relieved. Sorry, but if you asked me to pick between Flapjack and Hunter, I'd pick Hunter every single time. And okay, let me talk about Flapjack's actual death. I'm upset in the way that Flapjack's death just felt so avoidable. Like, Mance was flying around Bellows and pecking at him and all that, so what did you expect? But I'm also upset in the way that Flapjack's death felt kind of pointless. I can get the whole, oh, he's sacrificing himself to save Hunter, but I think those things are just so overdone at this point, and it really doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So that kind of sucked. But the Flapjack death memes, hilarious. I actually made a TikTok about Flapjack's death in the comments. Like, you guys can actually be funny sometimes. Okay, but besides Flapjack, I really wanted to talk about Hunter and his role in the episode. In terms of character arcs, I was especially disappointed with Hunter's arc, because he's my favorite character, right? So I wanted the best for him in terms of writing. And I was really excited to see what they do with him in Season 3, because it's a really interesting concept. You have this character who just came out of serving the Emperor's Coven his entire life, and now not only is he out of that situation, but he's also in the human realm. So that changes a lot. And I do like how they gave him cute hobbies like sewing. I thought that was adorable. But no, I'm not going to talk about the furry shirt. But anyways, it was nice to see Hunter actually express himself and not be an edgelord all the time. As much as I love Hunter angst, it was a nice change of pace. I could do a whole other video analyzing Hunter's character arc, but for Thanks to Them specifically, the reason I say I'm disappointed is because I feel like they didn't actually do that much with his character. Like, yeah, they focused on his relationship with Bellows, but it was kind of surface level and didn't really delve into the complexities of their relationship or what it meant to Hunter now that he was out of it. And as far as Hunter being a Grimwalker goes, I really expected to learn a lot more in Thanks to Them for the show to reveal more about the nature of Grimwalkers, but we really didn't learn anything new. And Hunter's eyes did turn brown at the end, but what does that really mean? If it's implied that he's not a Grimwalker anymore, why not? We might get more information in the finale, but I was still kind of disappointed in that aspect. And the way they handled Hunter's character arc in terms of him being a Grimwalker was so rushed and anticlimactic. It felt like they put so much emphasis on how Luz was the only one who knew Hunter was a Grimwalker, but at the end of the episode, when it's revealed Hunter's a Grimwalker, no one really has anything to say. Willow was just like, "You're a Grimwalker?" And that's it. What was the point of putting so much emphasis on Hunter being a Grimwalker at the beginning of the episode when there was no payoff or emotional beats by the end of it? And again, all these problems just left me feeling so disappointed at the end of the episode. I do like how they tried to explore Hunter's character more, but I just felt kind of sad watching it, because it felt like the end of his character arc, especially at the end of the episode when he threw the Titan's blood into the lake and literally died. It just felt like the end. And that really sucks, because there's so many more aspects of Hunter's character growth and character arc that the writers just never touched on. And I really wish they did, not even in just Thanks to Them, but in all of season 2. There's so many missed opportunities with Hunter's character. But okay, enough about Hunter. Let's talk about Luz. For Luz's arc, I really liked how they tried to make the beginning of the show more serious. Like, when you first watch the Owl House and see those silly gags in the first episode, it's just played off as jokes. But when they actually took those moments we were first seeing with Luz and made them serious, that was really cool. I liked how they tied the themes of being neurodivergent and how that affected Luz and why she even wanted to go to the Boiling Isles in the first place into her arc. And they had set up at the beginning of the episode how Luz was feeling conflicted and guilty for helping Bellows, and had that build up throughout the rest of the episode for that character complex. But by the end of the episode, it felt like all that built up to literally nothing. What I mean is, when the rest of Hex Squad found out that Luz accidentally helped Bellows with his plan, it gave off the impression that it really didn't matter at all, even though the show was trying to build Luz's guilt off how much this mattered in the first place. And obviously, we knew the rest of Hex Squad wouldn't be upset and they'd forgive Luz, but in the end, their reactions were either impartial or they straight up didn't say anything at all. It's like all this emphasis was put on how guilty Luz felt, but when we're supposed to care about this climactic moment, it just led to nothing. It felt like such a missed opportunity. They should have spent way more time at the end of the episode focusing on Luz. But instead, Amity mentions this once, and that's the end of it. It just made me wonder, what was the point of any of that? I really just wish they spent way more time on Luz near the end of the episode, because immediately after that, everyone just goes through the portal and the episode ends. And these rush arcs tie into a big problem with Thanks to Them itself, the pacing. And yeah, I get it, the writers didn't have a lot of time, but still, the pacing just felt so incredibly rushed. Like, I was getting whiplash while watching it, because there's these slower paced scenes, and then there's these really quick montages where a lot of stuff is happening all at once, which kind of felt like a sensory overload compared to the rest of the episode. And more than that, this rush pacing also hindered Luz and Hunter's character arcs from truly feeling meaningful, especially the end half of the episode, where everything was happening way too quickly, which in turn just rushed all these emotional beats and left everything feeling half finished. One of my biggest gripes with this episode is how there is barely any payoff for the plot points they were trying to emphasize. For Hunter and Luz, it felt like their arcs had a lot of build-up and emphasis, but there was little to no payoff by the end of the episode, where you should be getting these really emotional climactic moments, but they just didn't happen. So by the end of the episode, it kind of just felt like, oh, well, that just happened, you know? But it never really left me feeling anything. I just wish they would have added more meaning into the episode, because there just wasn't enough payoff for Hunter and Luz's arc to really feel meaningful. And as far as everyone else goes, it just felt like they were completely sidelined. I know Amity, Willow, Gus, and V kind of had their little moment in the middle of the episode, but it really just felt like they were only there just so they can move the plot forward. By which I mean finding the Titan blood. For example, and this pissed me off so much, at the end of the episode, seconds after Flapjack just died, Amity's like, oh, Luz, what was Bellows talking about earlier? Which, you know, she only said just so Luz could have her whole "it was my fault all along" speech. Which is just one of my biggest pet peeves in shows. I hate when it's so obvious when characters are only used solely to move the plot forward. They don't feel like their own character anymore, because they're not, and that's what really annoys me. I do think there are a lot of cute moments in this episode, but in terms of character development, it really wasn't doing it for me. I usually wouldn't care as much, but this is the third to last episode of the Owl House, so I just expected a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I still really like the episode, but there are just a lot of things that felt lacking that I wish were there. And obviously, these are all just my thoughts and opinions of the episode, but let me know what you thought of Thanks to Them down in the comments. Tell me if you liked it or not, or what you noticed that I might not have. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about the episode for now. Don't you worry, I always have time to overanalyze and rant about a children's cartoon. And damn, I didn't even really get to talk about what I've been doing on screen this entire time. These are all drawings of Thanks to Them, obviously. I did all of these in watercolor, in a sketchbook that definitely can't handle watercolor, except for the piece with Luz and Amity, which was done in markers. And if you like my art in the Owl House, you're in luck! I also post a lot of art on my TikTok. I mean, I'd wonder why you clicked on this video in the first place if you didn't. But anyways, my username on TikTok is also regrettably called Bean17Magic. And oh my god, it's on screen right now! What a great segue! But yeah, go check it out if you like my art and want more content. And don't forget to dislike and unsubscribe!